We're on.
All right, great. Okay, welcome everybody. Beautiful. Great workshop tonight. Easy, simple ways to improve your posture. We say better posture in 3 easy steps. But first piece, I always want to take a minute to acknowledge everyone that's here. Whether here or at home, we're actually going to be putting this on YouTube so people who can make it here or work late can still engage in the process. Being here, of course, live is always better. Who here, first workshop? Good. Second and third? Good. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, we're probably above 10 as well. Good. We're probably pretty close there. So let me start with first up, what I always like to call the sort of the end in mind. So with the end in mind, what I find is that it's not that we need to know more stuff, right? Knowledge, the internet, other stuff. I mean, we literally have computers now in the palm of our hands. But our purpose is not just to adjust people, but it's to come alongside people, it's to connect with people, it's to help support them in making those changes. A lot of times we know the stuff in our mind, and that old, knowledge is power. Well, it's true, but the reality is it's that implementation of knowledge. So tonight is actually about doing things and about taking a few little pieces, but starting to implement them into your daily lives. And one of those pieces as well, what we want to touch base about, is helping you guys, helping everyone who's here, to again start to make those changes for themselves, but also for our families, for our friends, and even maybe for our coworkers as well. Again, sharing that message, that's what everything's about. And tomorrow is our Patient Appreciation Day. Everyone should come back. Sam, other people, you can come back. We're doing free health checkups. It's a party day. It's fun. It's a great day, again, to share that piece and that knowledge and that information as well. Okay, so let's talk about posture. So number one, first and foremost, why is posture so important? What's the big deal with posture? I'll try to pick on everyone, but I'm not sure I'll get around to it. So, Patty.
It helps your spine stay
Sure.
where it belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. What else can posture connect or relate to? Why is posture a big deal?
Being clumsy and falling.
Sure.
Tripping.
It affects our balance. It affects our body stability, our center of gravity, things like that. Cool. Mr. Don, in the back. Why is posture so important?
Well, I didn't hear what she said, but it helps your spine.
Yep, helps your spine. Similar to absolutely. Any others? You guys are absolutely all right. Are absolutely correct. So we've got our spine. We've got, you guys even haven't hit on the stuff that, we want to stand taller. We want to be straighter. John, perfect. Spot up front. What about, how does our posture play a role and have an impact on maybe even internal organs? What's the big stuff that's inside, right up here?
Yeah.
It's our
Heart,
and lungs, absolutely. So what happens if someone, let's say, and I'll define what's good posture, what's bad posture in just a second, but just from a preliminary sense, when we have, let's say, poor posture, when we slouch, when we do this a lot, what tends to happen to my thoracic rib cage? What tends to happen to my heart and my lungs?
Get squished.
Yeah, in essence, they get squished. They did a study a few years ago out of a big journal looking at seniors, and what they found is the more of the slouching, or what they tend to call FHP, you may remember that from your x-rays, forward head posture, that's kind of what they call it in the literature, and what they found is there was a correlation with the more of this and the forward head posture they had. In essence, it affected their breathing, their what they call inspiratory volume, things like heart rate, blood pressure, even mortality actually, even how long they in essence live. So it has a big deal. Posture's a big deal to not just how we feel, it's true, to not just how we look, nobody mentioned that one, right? We want to stand tall and straight, especially at any point in our lives, especially as we get older. But it has a big deal to do with how our body functions, how our breathing, how our heart rate is functioning, our immune system, all these kinds of pieces as well. So, we talk about posture, and we also talk about how things relate in our bodies. Anybody heard me use the term kind of the kinetic chain? Good. What does that mean to you, Sean?
The nerves.
The nervous system and? Anybody else?
Everything's connected.
What was that?
Everything's connected.
You're both correct. So what we talk about when we call the kinetic chain is the nervous system, which I'm going to get into right now. But I also want you thinking about not just your back, not just your neck, even not just your posture, but how really everything relates together. So what does that mean? That means a problem that someone might have, let's even go as far as, let's say, with the foot. Let's say there's a problem with the foot, and maybe somebody has flat feet. Maybe one foot is flat versus the other. Maybe we've had ankle sprains that never really healed properly, so it tends to affect us. And what that does is it creates a chain link effect, right? What was that old song? The something bone's connected to the something bone, right? It's a kid's song, but it's absolutely true. And what they talk about in athletic performance, but for me it's just, it's life, right? It's how we all function and live and walk and pick up, I mean, it's everything. So what happens is any part of the body, any part of that chain that is in essence off, damaged, we're going to use the term subluxated or misaligned, that can affect different parts of our body. And in essence, something is from a foot, can affect the knee, could affect the hip, could then affect another part of our body. So it all connects, all of our body relates together. Now, when we start to look at the spine, when we start to look at our body, I want you to start to think about, again, how everything relates and how our body connects. So, very simply, we'll start with my friend here. Brain sends the messages down to all the different parts of our body. The information goes back. And again, we're thinking about posture. We're tending to think about kind of this mid-thoracic area. But posture is simply a window to your health, to your spine, and to your nervous system. Anybody see me explain this funny thing recently? Somebody was just asking about it just before, so I thought, let me just kind of, anybody knows what this is?
Safety pin.
Exactly, it's a big safety pin. And it's a great tool to explain a concept we call the safety pin cycle, and it's a physiological kind of law of the body and how things work. It's a great thing. I picked it up at a conference. So our brains communicate with our bodies through our nervous systems. So the nervous system goes down, let's say our arms, our neck, our back, our stomach, our kidneys, every part of our body. And then the information goes back. It has to be interpreted. Ouch, that thing's hot, or we need to make more hormones, whatever it is. Everything is controlled and communicated through the nervous system. Now this is what we call a closed loop. Information goes down, it goes back. Information goes down, it goes back. As long as that system is closed, the information is flowing at 100% capacity. When there's damage, when there's stress, when there's misalignment, when there's subluxation, so that means there's an interference of the nervous system flow, it's almost like we open up that loop. Now it doesn't open 100%, but it's in essence like if you've ever been on the phone, and instead of having 4 or 5, whatever the bars are, anybody ever have it where you only have like 1 or 2, and you pick up kind of every other word? That's what happens when we have a subluxation. But instead, it's our body not getting the information down and the information back. Now, let me ask you a question. Does this have anything to do with pain?
Yes.
Sometimes, but not necessarily. That's actually the part I wanted to kind of bring home tonight. Not necessarily. Could we have subluxations and could we have areas of misalignment and not feel it? The answer is yes, absolutely. The same way we could have high blood pressure and not feel it, many other conditions, from diabetes, even things like cancer. The reality is we want to help you function and of course feel better, but the bigger thing is always closing that loop. Helping our nervous system to function at 100% is the key. The other piece about this nervous system is that it only feels a small percentage of pain. Out of all of the nerves in our body, shockingly, only about 10% of our nerves feel pain. So out of all those nerves connected to that safety pin, again, only a small percentage feel pain. That means by the time we feel pain, sometimes it's worse than we thought. And again, I always want you guys to feel better, to function better, but we don't want to judge everything based on simply how we feel. Let's get back to posture. So we talk about posture. I want to start to define, number one, what are some of our ideals? Like, what's good posture? So what's good posture?
Standing straight.
Mona. Oh, what's that, Trish?
Standing straight.
Standing straight, beautiful. So not standing like this, right? Shifting, twisting, high shoulder. What else?
Head back.
Ah, head back. Patty's got it absolutely right. So this is the one we tend to think of the most. So meaning we're not slouching, coming forward. They used to call this like, or they still call it kyphosis, or they used to call it like a dowager's hump, things like that as well too. So the reality is we understand, just like blood pressure, just like a lot of other things there are, and there should be some normals. So very simply, when we look, and you can do this in the mirror. Everybody who started care, remember, one of the first things I do is I always check your posture in the mirror. So we look at three basic areas. We look at the hips, and you can do this for yourself. We look at the shoulders, and then we look at the head. And very simply, what you're looking at with those three general areas are, do we see any shifting, any rotation, or do we see one side higher than the other? Hips are a little hard, but one of the areas you'll see, especially on yourself, are the shoulders. So go home, just like remember when you first started, close your eyes, bend your head up and down. By closing your eyes and just kind of moving the head a little bit, what it does is we have what's called a righting reflex in our brains, and the righting reflex sort of levels us on the horizon. When you close the eyes, I get a truer sense of what your body, in essence your posture, would actually really look like on the films or on the x-rays. That's why we do that. So relax, close your eyes, check yourself, later in the mirror, and you may notice one shoulder coming up higher than the other. You may notice the head coming over further to the other side. But the big one, and I think the one we're most kind of aware of, is this. This kind of posture. So, when do some of us sometimes look like this?
Sit at the computer.
Computer, what else?
Driving.
Driving, what else? 3 times a day.
Computer, bathroom.
Bathroom, sure. Seriously,
More people have gotten back problems getting up.
That's great, Trish. I was thinking breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 times a day, but that's very fair. That's very true as well. Who here thinks they sit, an hour or 2 per day? Easy. An hour or 2, everyone should pretty much raise their hand. I mean, we all do an hour or 2. Okay, wait, put your hands up. So an hour or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7, 8, plus 8, some of us, yeah. What I find is even of us that don't sort of classically sit at work and we're banging away on the computer, again, we take in commuting, breakfast, lunch, dinner, other times, home times, we find that we tend to have hours of sitting per day. While I won't give you the full history, I can absolutely assure you that our bodies were not designed, in essence, to really be sitting or to be sitting for long stretches of time. Sitting is very damaging. They tend to call sitting almost like the new smoking in a lot of the research and literature and even in read publications and newspapers and things like that. And the reason is they found is that long periods of sitting has a very negative effect on our body, our health, our life, on many different areas. So what can we do? First piece for tonight is number 1. I want us to start to identify and kind of create some awareness. That's that first step. So easy posture, better posture, and 3 easy steps. So number 1, starting to create some awareness of our posture. Meaning, when are those times that we might have better posture? When are those times that we might have slouching, bad, sitting forward, damaged posture, those types of things as well. So you guys gave me some of those things already. Sitting, computer, driving, other things, bathroom, other pieces like that as well. So number 1, the first takeaway is just start to identify some of those pieces. Everybody have 1 or 2 of those pieces in their brain when they're doing it. Okay. The second piece is, number 2 is, then what can you do to address those pieces? So if it's okay, Brian, I'm going to pick on you. We were talking just before, and I was asking Brian about sitting. Brian has an hour each way commute. Yeah, be more? An hour. I mean, it's a good stretch of time. So anything more than about 15 minutes, by the way, in a certain habit or posture associated is one of those things. What happens is our body starts to take that, and it starts to, in essence, start to say, oh, this is kind of how you are, and our body starts to adapt. So anything more than about 15, 20 minutes, an hour, our body starts to kind of get used to that habit or posture. Not a good thing. So number 1, we want to identify. So number 2, we're sitting or driving. What are some things we could do to help our posture during driving?
Change the seat,
Change the seat. How?
either the back or I guess sort of distance.
You know it? Good. Yeah.
The recliner.
Maybe how much you're reclining. How about lumbar support? Who uses the lumbar support in their seat? Good. How high? Should you use lumbar support? If so, how much? Who here uses lumbar support, right? You know what I'm talking about? The thing on the side, you can crank up, goes up, goes down. Who here uses one? About half? Okay, good. So for those of you that use it, great. Do you like it? How's it feel? Makes a big difference, right? So when you have lumbar support, what happens is, in essence, our body likes this posture. So it likes to be up, straight. Again, it puts those curves in our back. So it puts a curve in the neck, it protects the neck, protects the mid-back, protects the low back. When we sit, and we're doing this, our body goes from curved to kind of like a C shape. We kind of like compress everything together. And that puts the back, the spine, our body, in a very weakened, prone to damage, prone to things like arthritic change and breakdown and other pieces. So we want to start to reverse those. So we talk about using a lumbar support. How much lumbar support should we have is a good question. Anybody know? A little, a lot? Medium.
Fills in the gap.
Fills in the gap. Number one, you have to do what's comfortable. I think is the most important thing. But another good kind of like benchmark is what they say is you take your fist, and you can try it here. Some of you have the back, some of you don't. Take your fist, make a fist, put it behind your low back. So try it out, like where your belt would be, maybe just a pinch higher. And that's a lot though. But what you want is you want enough support that A is comfortable, but B brings you from here to kind of, right there, I'm here. So, number one, if you have a lumbar support, great, check it. I might encourage you to bring it up just a hair. And if you don't, what are some other things you could use? You know what, one of the things I do is I love to find, in essence, like, you know, without running out and spending money, it's just stuff you have laying around that you could use, that you can easily work into your day. So let's say we're sitting, we're working at it. What's something you have laying around the house that you could use to give you a little cushion or support in this lower back?
Tennis ball.
Roll towel.
Tennis ball, you could try. I don't know if it's going to be that comfortable though. You could try. Maybe a few tennis balls across, but I think a rolled towel might be a little, maybe just roll the towel up and place it across the low back, sweatshirt. You can get a nice lumbar support cushion that sits on the chair or your work chair or your chair, you know, in the car, your seat. But initially I would just start with, if you don't have one, just start with maybe something where you're working, where you're sitting. Just start with a towel, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, just something just to give you a little bit of support. That's it. Easy one. Beautiful. Good, good, good. So again, we take a piece, we identify it, and then we make that change. Anything else with kind of the car stuff? I'll spend a little bit more time on that. So we talked about lumbar support, we talked about kind of the seat a little bit. Good headrest. Headrest, sure, headrest. You know, again, what you want to do is sometimes I find the headrest, I find sometimes force people kind of into like this posture. Now, we could always, you could always just pull me aside and I could run out to the car and we can take a look. But in essence, just like sleeping at night, a lot of times people ask me about sleeping. So if you're sleeping on your back and you've got two pillows behind your head and you're sleeping in this position all night, it's bad. You're putting your body into this very damaging forward posture. So just like the seat in the car, you want to have it back, you want to be nice and relaxed, you want to sit up fairly straight. And I'll share a great little trick that somebody told me years ago. After everyone leaves here tonight, you've had great adjustments to sitting up nice and straight. Sit in your car, sit up nice and straight. Fix your rear view mirror to you sitting up straight in essence, right? So then when you're driving home or it's late and you're tired and there's that tendency to kind of slouch, what's going to happen?
You can't see the rearview.
Yeah, you won't be able to see the rearview mirror. And it's a little thing, again, it's simple, it's easy, it doesn't cost you anything, but rather than changing the rearview mirror, you just sit up straight, basically. So you go, Dr. Kemnos told me to sit up straight. Just sit up straight. It's an easy thing, it works well. Again, it's such a little, I like finding these little things that are really very easy. Good. So we talked about the car, rolling the car, a lot. What about sitting? Where else we might experience damaging posture?
Sitting at the desk.
Yeah, at a desk.
Sharing dinner.
Sitting at the dinner table, at desk. Let's tackle the computer one. Computer one's a big deal. Because even if we're not on the computer all day, which some of us are, everybody has a computer, I'm sure. So you might be on the laptop, you know, working on the kitchen table. You might work primarily off maybe like an iPad or something like that, so you're really slouching. And there's a lot of pieces to this. And I'm not going to do my full ergonomics piece, and we actually have an ergonomics called Keeping Fit While You Sit lecture, but one of the biggest takeaways that I find across the board helps out the most people is something called monitor height. Anybody have talked to you about monitor height before? Good. So where should the monitor be, Sean?
I don't know.
Exactly. So go home, just like the rearview mirror, sit up nice and straight, and your monitor, most times, is way too low. Way too low. Everybody keeps their monitors too low. So we're sitting, we're doing this, and we wonder why we start to look like this, and we wonder why it starts to put pressure on our nervous system. Thanks, Gary. We start to wonder why we have neck pain, back pain, arm pain, hand pain. Again, everything starts to compressed. We live in what they call like a kind of forward or flexion society. We want to bring things back, we want to open things up as well. So very simply, raise the monitor height. Raise the monitor. How can you raise the monitor? Again, won't cost you a dime. What's something you have laying around your house? What's that? Yeah, put a few books. Do they still make phone books? You can throw a couple phone books underneath, you know, reams of paper, you know, just a couple things. In fact, if you weren't sure, I'd rather the monitor be a little higher, depending on, I know glasses and graduating and things like that, but if the monitor is a little higher, you're almost into a slight, maybe extension and a stretch. Again, you want to be neutral, but if you're unsure, I might even just go a hair higher, basically. Anybody, you've probably tried that, Shirley, right? Raise the monitor?
I raised 3.
3 monitors. How's it feel, especially after like hours of work?
It's significantly better.
It's amazing, right? It's a simple little thing that can make a really big change to our lives. I've had human resources managers do nothing. I've done this workshop. I remember I did this in my hospital once, and one of the people from human resources like emailed me 10 minutes later. I just got back, and she said, "Wow, I raised the monitor height. I don't know, but I just feel a lot better." I go, it's such a simple thing, but unfortunately, it's these little things, but we multiply them, right, over days, weeks, months, years of stress, and it starts to be, in essence, really become big things, damaging things. Stress is another big factor. Again, it damages, it creates more and more stress over time. What else can we do to help our posture? Now, some of you do some of our traction, some of our other exercises as well here. We lay with the neck back and you go into extension and we're starting to reverse the curve. But what's another piece? Something simple is something like that, is you might just bring your head back and you might just hold for 20 to 30 seconds, especially if, let's say, we're sitting all day and we're doing a lot of work. You might just bring your head up, bring your shoulders back, hold for 30 seconds, and relax. Let's all try that together. So bring your head up, deep breath in, pinch your shoulders back, and kind of relax. Good. Do it one more time. Bring up, hold. Again, we're pinching the shoulders back and down. We're bringing the neck up. We're kind of keeping there for 30 seconds, and then relax. Good. Beautiful. Again, we're just always conscious and trying to undo the effects of stress, poor posture, damaging effects. So number 1, identify the poor posture. Number 2, do something about it. And number 3, here's my third tip, follow up. How do we follow up on this? It's very easy to say like, oh, doc, this is great. And then we maybe start, we've all done this. No, I can't say we all, only myself. But, you know, I've done certain things or I had great intentions. And then, you know, a few days or a few weeks later, somebody like, wait, I was talking about doing those things. So what's a way we can, again, simply, easily build in some reminders of some of these things for our lives, for ourselves? Anybody use a calendar? Anybody use an electronic calendar? Which ones do you guys use? Both. Which one? Electronic and okay, which ones? Anybody use Google or Outlook or any of those things? Okay, we got some of this, okay. Anybody ever use any reminders on any of these things? All right? In fact, a lot of these reminders, what you can do is you can set up just to like, go from like now till forever, right? There's no ending. It's like, you know, so you might do something like that. You might leave a little reminder or pop up, or on Outlook, you can make a little sound, and it just may say something like, hey, do your stretches today. Simple. When I do this, it's funny, I was looking over some of my previous notes, and when I do this in companies, we would have people pair up and actually pick what we call a posture buddy. Now, it sounds a little hokey, I know, like posture buddy, come on, man. But actually, it worked great. So people would pair up, and they would agree, like if their cubicles or their desks are near each other, and they would agree, and they would say, well, in essence, if you walk by and you notice that I'm slouching, like you've got a free rein to just say, hey, you know, sit up straight without any, you know, taking anything personally or anything like that. Or you might check in with your posture buddy just to say, hey, have you done your stretches this week or anything like that. Again, I know it sounds a little hokey, but it actually worked really well. And we had people make some really tremendous changes and had more energy and felt great. So you might pick someone like that, either at home or someone at work or someone you know. But again, I want you to keep these 3 pieces in mind. Well, what are the 3 pieces? Number 1, identify. Just identify. Just starting to bring some awareness to your posture. Ideally, especially when you're sitting, but posture can kind of weave through a lot of other pieces. change something, and if you're not sure what to change, and I've given you a lot of pieces already to change, but if you're not sure, come and talk with me. And then the third thing is just simply follow up. Keep an eye, follow up, set a once-a-week reminder. I mentioned things like taking the stretches I give everybody and literally just leave it on your pillow. I've done stuff where I've put it up on the bathroom mirror and other places. So, you just want to build in essence, kind of support. We're all really busy. Being here is just a big deal. A lot of us, it's a big deal to be here. So in essence, what I want to do is I want to give you that support, not just more knowledge, but I want to give you that support, and I want to be able to help you guys kind of check in on those changes as well. So, we're just about getting to time.
Hold on a second.
Sure, please.
Real quick, I knew a guy that when you would talk to him, he would go to the wall and stand. Excuse me, come over here.
Yeah.
And he would stand.
You're standing against the wall.
Yeah, put his head.
That's great.
And then he'd say, talk to me. He would stand.
That's
You
actually.
didn't bring that up. That's
No,
fun.
that's great. That's actually another way to check posture. So that's great, Sam. That's perfect.
He would wait. Come over.
You
He would stand, and he would have a conversation with the guy.
That's
It's
hey,
a true
listen.
story. I'm serious.
Hey.
And
That's
he,
not posture, he knows someone's looking for him.
no, this guy's in great shape.
I'm just gonna blend
He's
into the
worried
wall.
about it. And he would say the same thing. Posture is very, very important to the organization.
Intro Logan's
Yeah,
intro
he said
as
that.
well. So another thing, that's great, Sam, that's great, thanks for taking us over that. But that's another way you can check your posture, and this actually Carrie gets into in her workshop, is you can just stand,
Yeah.
put your feet against the wall, put your hips, and just stand against the wall and
Take
see,
his shoulders.
yes, now your head should be touching the wall. A lot of us, you're gonna find your head's off an inch, 2, 3 inches. You can just do
That's
this.
just doing that as stretching.
That's it. That's a posture stretch, actually. That's an exercise that I have patients do all the time. So number one, I love it. Yeah, it sounds a little crazy, but hey, listen.
You,
I
I,
bet-
thought you
I
were
bet
gonna
he had
bring
great
it up.
posture.
I waited.
I bet he had great posture. It's a good thing. And you can do it there, you can do it at work. It's an easy thing.
Right.
So anyway, we've got some great stuff. I've given you a lot of little takeaways. As I mentioned with all of our workshops, what I do not want you to do is try to do everything we've gone over tonight, but take 1 or 2 or 3 little pieces, go do that rearview mirror trick, but do something. Tell someone else. Again, bring some, we identify, we bring some awareness, we change something, and then we kind of follow up with it. And really the last piece, what I always say is, share this thing. Share what you learned, share with someone else, show a friend, show a neighbor, show a family member, that kind of stuff. And keep this conversation going. Bring them in tomorrow, bring somebody in, bring somebody else to these workshops. Again, this is where we want to keep this piece going to help people, not just out of pain, but how do we help people get stronger, stay healthier, live longer? What do we all want to do? Have fun, enjoy life, play with our kids, whatever. I mean, that's retire and feel good. I mean, that's what life is about. You guys are great. I hope everybody can join us tomorrow. It's our Patient Appreciation Day. If you want to come by, bring friends by, get checkups. If not, just come by and hang out and have some food with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys are great. Thank you, Mike, for recording. And we'll see everybody soon during the week, that kind of stuff. So, perfect. Julie, any questions?
Thank you.